Hello, FLB Club. Today, I want to talk to you guys about something that I think is very important for the OHV community, and it has to do with the new regulations that went in place at Canyonlands National Park starting September 1st. If you guys don't know yet, basically they are now mandating and requiring day use permits for White Rim Road and also Elephant Hill. So White Rim Road obviously is sort of the classic Moab ride. That's the Canyonlands ride. Everybody wants to do White Rim Road. And now they're going to restrict it to 50 vehicles a day, which sounds like a fair number, but really that road is 100 miles long, so it's not very many at all. So let me tell you a little bit about why I think this is a huge problem. So first of all, let's go way back to April, the March-April time frame of this year, of 2015. They opened up these proposed new regulations to a public comment period. Myself plus hundreds of other people on forums that I frequent posted our comments, and we had a lot of issues with their proposal. And then now, just recently, they said, okay, this is the new regulation, and what they imposed was exactly what they proposed in the first place. So this kind of makes me feel like they were just following a government checklist by having a public comment period, but they didn't actually seriously consider the public's opinion. I tried to be part of the process, but I definitely feel like I wasn't. It was just a formality because they have a procedure that they have to follow before they implement new regulations. But I definitely feel like the decision was made beforehand, and the public comment period was a farce. And the reason I say that is because any reasonable person could have read our concerns, especially the concerns of the motorcycling community, and I think have agreed and said, yeah, these guys actually have some legitimate concerns. But I don't think that was the case. And if you look at the Secretary of the Interior, who was the former CEO of REI, who has historically been hostile to the OHV community, it's really no surprise. But, you know, I always hold out some hope that reason will prevail. So let me tell you a little bit about some of the new regulations and why they're terrible for the OHV community, and specifically the dual sport community. First of all, they are restricting vehicle group sizes. Motor vehicle group sizes are restricted to 3, and that includes motorcycles. Mountain bike group sizes are restricted to 15. So you can have 15 mountain bikes in a group, but only 3 motorcycles. So the reason I have such a problem with this is that 3 motorcycles in a group is not only, I feel, grossly unfair, because a lot of groups of friends may want to do it, or even a family of 4 might want to do it on their motorcycles, but I think it's also very dangerous. Typically, and everybody who rides a motorcycle knows that it's not usually a great idea to ride alone. So if you have 3 people in a group, if you're following the regulations, you have 3 people in your group, what if one person gets hurt? Well, if they're unable to ride out, then you have a choice. You have to either leave somebody with the injured person and have one person ride out alone and risk getting hurt themselves in the process. The other option is that you leave the injured guy by himself and 2 people ride out together to go get help. because there is no cell service on the White Rim Road. So right away, you've got a huge safety issue by only allowing 3 motorcycles to ride to ride on that road in a group. Another major concern I have is that they snuck in a regulation limiting the volume for vehicles, and this wasn't, I didn't see this on their proposed plan, so it's possible this was a regulation before, but on September 2nd, the day after this went into effect, I actually got a day use permit just to look at it, and at the bottom of it, it lists some regulations, and one of the things that jumped out at me was this decibel limit. So they've placed a decibel limit of 60 decibels on motor vehicles on the White Rim Road and on Elephant Hill in the Needles District. 60 decibels is fairly quiet. 60 decibels is about a normal conversational volume at 3 feet of distance. So you're probably listening to this video right now at about 60 decibels. So to impose that restriction on any motor vehicle is really pretty questionable. Motorcycles will typically come in around 100 decibels. So right away they're throwing legislations on there that unfairly target motor vehicles. Another issue I have is that I'm not really sure there's a problem. They're doing this under the guise of wanting to preserve the remoteness and tranquility of Canyonlands National Park and White Rim Road in particular. But let me tell you, I've done White Rim Road 3 times now, and 2 of those times have been in the last 2 years, and I have never seen more than 50 people. I've never seen more than a handful of people on the road, to be honest with you. So, and most of the traffic I have seen has basically been from the entrance to Muscleman Arch, which is sort of where the tour groups go, and then they turn around and they go back. So the first 20 miles of the trail is what sees the most use, but when you follow it all the way around, it's rare to see anybody. You might see 3 or 4 groups during the entire 100 miles. And I've certainly never seen more than 50 vehicles on the road during a day. So I really feel like they're trying to solve a problem that doesn't exist. Another regulation that they threw on the permit there is that groups have to be separated by 30 minutes of travel time. So it's easy to say, well, three vehicle limit's not a big deal because we can just have 4 of us go, and 2 of each 2 say that they're a separate group and we just travel together. Well, they threw this in there anticipating that. But my biggest problem with this is that I have no control over other people's groups. I can't control when they leave, or their direction of travel, or their speed, or where they stop for lunch, and for how long. It's not something I can control, having 30 minutes of travel time between my group and some other group. So to put that as a regulation seems a little silly and unenforceable and uncontrollable. Users of that area can't really be sure that they're following this regulation, because it relies on multiple unassociated people cooperating. It doesn't make any sense. So the bottom line is, ultimately, I really feel like the National Park Service has an agenda that may go all the way up to the Secretary of the Interior, but I believe the National Park Service has an agenda for these areas, and their ultimate goal is to disallow motor vehicles. And these new regulations are a step towards that end game. They're imposing unrealistic noise restrictions, unrealistic group size and travel restrictions, on these roads when there isn't really any problem or any reason at all to do this. So I really feel like this is just the first step towards a larger plan. Maybe I'm a conspiracy theorist suggesting this, but you know, I've been riding for 37 years, 39 years now, and I've seen enough trails closed to sort of sense it coming. This is just another step towards closing down these public lands to motorized use, and I feel like the process was bull. That's all I got, really. I'm venting a little bit, but you know, comment if you agree, like and share. I think these are some valid concerns, especially for motorcycle users, but also for four-wheel drive users, because they're going to have a hard time meeting that 60 decibel limit as well. Motorcycles are going to have probably an impossible time hitting that 60 decibel limit. And 3 motorcycles is not the safest group size. Take it easy, guys. FLB out.